Hello and welcome to Sure Faith Podcast. I am Michelle and this is my brother Mitchell. And I was not here last week, so I really don't know what I'm supposed to be saying. I thought I could just let it flow and it doesn't work. So sorry. So anyhow, let me read this from the paper that I was provided with. We ask that you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the notification icon to be notified when new episodes are released. So hello and welcome.
Hello.
And I know you all missed me last week. Everybody missed me last week. Yeah, see? They're shaking their heads.
Yeah, shaking them no.
You're crying that I wasn't here.
Sure. That's the reason.
Oh, shoot. No, I was not able to make it back, but I'm here this week, so I will be your entertainment for the night.
Oh, I don't even know what to say.
I know that you're happy that I'm here. I was approached by other people saying that you missed me.
Who?
Maybe the people who attend? Right?
I feel like somebody lied to you.
We're in church. You can't lie. I mean, I guess you could and just pray for forgiveness for your sin, I guess.
Not the way it works.
Oh my goodness. So I can honestly tell you, because you didn't put the episode on Facebook, I did not see it. So I have no idea what you said last week.
It's on YouTube.
I know, but I don't go to YouTube. I watch it off of Facebook. Anybody can watch it off of YouTube. You can still listen to it on your platforms, like your podcast platforms.
Apple Podcast, Spotify.
Yeah, so you can still listen to it on all of that stuff. But for me, when I get up in the morning after I do like my devotion and I do my prayers and stuff, of course, I jump on Facebook. And as I do that, I scroll. And then when I see it, then I listen to it. And somebody forgot to put
It's
it
on there.
Facebook.
Look,
You just did it. Like as we were sitting here, you did it.
But it's on there now.
So, but you can follow us on those platforms. If you're not listening to on one of it now, or if you want to try something different, you could actually watch us on YouTube or on Facebook, rather than just to listen to us through Spotify, Apple Podcast, and what's the other one? What?
There's like 7, 8, 10.
Okay, so all of them.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one that we're not on.
Oh, see? I learn something new every day.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, you can come and join us in person.
True.
Yes, we are here on Thursday evenings at the Living Waters Church. So feel free.
Normally start at 6:30.
We usually start at 6:30 p.m. When there's no IT issues. Yeah. So we start a little bit late tonight, but that's okay. It happens. So, all right. Is there anything else you want to discuss?
I haven't discussed anything. Been all you
would like to discuss.
How was your trip to Seattle?
Oh, my trip to Seattle was very nice. I was really scared of the weather because it rains a lot in Seattle. But we actually had some really nice weather, really nice. And I thought jet lag was just something people talked about. Oh my gosh, it is terrible. It is terrible. So we left Seattle last Thursday at 10:30. No, our flight was originally supposed to leave at 10:30. It was about a half-hour delay. And so we lost all that time in the air, and we landed. It was 6:45 when we got home then. It was a 4-hour flight. I mean, it's 4 hours and 10 minutes. And I cannot function. Like, it's bad. I'm sitting here going, at 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, I need a nap. I need a coffee. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. So then I have espresso to get me through it, like today, to get me through the time.
That explains a lot. It all makes sense now.
It's all coming together. Yeah. Just like last night, I had a hair appointment, and I had a latte before I went, and that espresso did a number on me. And let me tell you, I was running around wild at the hair salon last night.
Those poor ladies.
They enjoy it. So, yeah, it is. It's and then we have the prom this weekend, which of course when you watch this, prom will be over. But I am going to be at the after prom, so I'm going to lose sleep there too. So, boy, May's going to come in, hit me hard, I tell you. So, and talking about that also, we have the anniversary of our sister's passing is coming up
Yep.
this weekend.
Couple of days.
I hate to say it like that because it's also Mitchell and Paige's anniversary that
Mm.
day. So, your anniversary 5 years? 6 years? Okay. Yeah, so we're coming upon that time as well. So it's always a hard time for us, but I think we all really see good in it now. I mean,
Yeah.
her birthday was hard. Her birthday was on Monday, the 24th of April. And that morning was very hard for me. I cried a lot. But I think then, in the 5 or 6 days after, it's kind of like, okay, I'm all right. So, but it's a hard time. We remember lots of good times, and I think about the times that we could still have, the times that we missed out on. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm not gonna cry because that's not good for the camera. If we weren't on camera, I probably would cry, but we're on camera now, so
Well, it looks like I'm crying.
Yeah. You have tears?
But it's not
Crystal's
crying.
got allergies
I got
and
like severe allergies.
yeah, and it's terrible.
Something going on. So,
Actually, he's still crying because I wasn't here last week.
sure.
Sure, exactly. Are you able to see this thing?
I don't know. That's why I had to wipe my eyes because I don't know if I can.
All right. So, but yeah, so everyone just keep us lifted up in prayer. Like I said, it's a difficult time for us, and we appreciate all of the prayers that you can give for our family. So, yeah. Right. So, what are we going into, Matthew? I know, Spidey.
Got a new bat.
It's a Spidey case.
Had to steal the boys' iPad again.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, do you want me to start? Are you done talking?
I mean, I wasn't here last week, so I should have 20 minutes of free talk time. And okay, I've hit it.
I believe it.
Oh shoot.
So last week, for those that weren't here or did not watch it, we finished up. What did we finish up? Matthew 4:12 through 17.
I don't know, I wasn't here.
So yes, we finished up that section. So now we are going to be starting in Matthew 4:18 through 22.
Okay.
Which is Matthew's version of the calling of the first disciples.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, I like this.
We're going to be covering that. There's going to be another. It's not really a tangent, but another journey through some of the other scriptures, some of the other gospels.
All right.
So.
All right, let's get started.
All right, then we'll start by reading Matthew 4:18 through 22, and this says, "While walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, 'Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.' Immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, in the boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him."
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I know I don't ask a lot of questions, but when it says Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, when did he get called Peter?
So.
Because I've been watching The Chosen, which you all know, and he is Simon, and yet to be called Peter.
Which technically, Simon had his name changed. We covered that back in John.
Yeah, I remember you saying it. Yes.
So right after John the Baptist
yes.
gave his first witness about Jesus being the Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
So after Jesus went to the wilderness, came back out, John the Baptist gave that first witness. It was that second day after that first witness when Jesus was walking by and John the Baptist said, "Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world." And Andrew and John the Apostle followed Jesus and were kind of like stalking him. That's the way I've always pictured it.
Okay.
And Jesus turns around and is like, "Hey, what's up?" And well, they ended up spending the day together.
Right.
Well, Andrew went to go get his brother Simon.
Yes.
And brought Simon to Jesus. And when Andrew brought Simon to Jesus, Jesus says basically right there and then and there changes his name to Cephas, which means rock. And then I don't remember if it's Greek, Hebrew. I'm thinking Cephas is Hebrew, but then the Greek version of that is Peter,
So why did he change his name?
because that's what Jesus does.
Okay, that's fine. That's the only explanation I need.
Because he was going to become the stone on which he built the church.
Okay, perfect.
But that's like way later.
No, that's fine. Like I said, because you see it here, but really, I mean, sometimes you don't see it.
Which I do have this in our notes for later about
Oh,
what this actually means. We probably won't even get to it today.
okay, that's fine. I
But
didn't get the notes until when I got here.
man, you're slacking. But just so you know, since you're asking,
Yes, thank you.
the reason he uses who is called Peter here, it is more for clarification.
Thank you.
Because Simon was a very popular name
Yes.
back in that day.
Okay.
There actually will be another Simon that is a part of the apostles. So this is just more of a clarifying, because we need to keep in mind that this was written 60, 70 years after all these events actually took place. And so this was just kind of Matthew's way of
Keeping
saying
it straight.
Simon, who is called Peter. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the Simon that I'm talking about, the one
Okay.
that is known as Peter. So that's why it's in there.
Okay,
Just
perfect.
clarifying.
Like I said, I just, you know,
No.
you were reading that and that stuck out to me, and I just wanted to know why in this that you know, in quotations he says who is called Peter.
So I just want you to know that
Yeah.
from now on, since we're off our notes, it's your fault now. So.
Okay, I'll take
Okay.
that.
So some other things to notice is up to this point, Jesus has been pretty much by himself.
Yeah.
A lot of his ministry has been by himself. He's been spending a lot of time by himself, traveling. I mean, he did spend time with John the Baptist. You know, John the Baptist baptized Jesus. He spent some other time with John the Baptist. He spent some time with the disciples. He went with the disciples down to Jerusalem for that first Passover. But then the second Passover, he was by himself. So there was times where he was with other people and spent time with other people, but for the most part, he would leave those instances and go back and do ministry on his own again and travel to the different towns, to the synagogues, and preach and teach on the Sabbath.
Mm.
But after this point, after he calls these disciples, we're not going to see Jesus by himself.
No, yeah.
Really again. I mean, he will be by himself during the whole trial in front of Pontius Pilate and Sanhedrin, but that's really about it. I mean, for the
Otherwise,
most
there's
part,
somebody's with them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever he's doing, he's going to have somebody with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing with, we just read that Jesus called these four men. Well, for some of these most intimate or significant things that he does, like the transfiguration up on the mountain, and some of these big healings that he does, it's only Jesus and his inner circle. Well, 3 out of these 4 guys that he called
Mm-hmm.
initially
Mm-hmm.
are part of his inner circle.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So it's Simon, Peter,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's also James and John.
Okay.
But then the other interesting thing about these 4 guys is after that first witness from John the Baptist, like we just talked about, it was Andrew and John that found him, and then Simon, they went and found Simon.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 out of the 4 were also the first people Jesus talked to after John the Baptist made that first witness, that first proclamation of who Jesus was. So what I find interesting is that Andrew is in both of these stories.
Yes, but
yet he's not a part of the inner circle.
Well, that's what.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I think you said that, and I was like, but Andrew's the one who left to get Simon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so why is he not in the inner circle?
I don't understand the dynamic of it, but
so interesting.
It is interesting. That's something I'm going to have to ask Jesus whenever I get to heaven.
Like, you're making notes.
What was up with Andrew?
Yeah, why was why wasn't he in your inner circle?
Andrew was so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I do find that interesting. But yes, it is just the way that all kind of worked out.
Very interesting.
Um, something else that whenever because I read a lot of commentaries, whenever I'm reading commentaries on Matthew, they all have pretty much the same general concept is the fact that Simon and Andrew and James and John were close together during Matthew's version of this calling,
Mm-hmm.
that there was some sort of connection between the two sets of brothers.
Right.
But then if we actually look at Luke, and it's actually Luke 5:10, it actually states that these two sets of brothers were actually in business together.
Oh, okay.
So I do want to go, like I kind of hinted at, we're going to take another little,
It's a rabbit hole.
if you want to call it a rabbit hole. I was trying to avoid calling it a rabbit hole
But that's what it
or a
is.
tangent,
Mm.
but
We are going to go there.
we're going to go there. But
Okay.
we can't just go there because where we left Luke last time was the rejection at Nazareth, where he was rejected, and that's why he had to move to Capernaum.
Okay.
Well, there's actually a few things that happen
Mm.
from the end of that story to the calling of the first disciples in Luke. So we're just going to go on this fun journey. How much time we got?
You got 8 minutes.
Well, we'll start this fun journey,
Okay.
and then we'll see where we get.
Okay.
All right. So the first place that we are going to go is, yeah, something else I do want to notice is that these events that we're about to cover, they do happen in a very close group together. They're just happen like one right after the other. But it's hard to put which one happened first or the exact order because different gospels have it
Mm.
in different orders. So we're going to actually cover the synoptic gospels when we're doing this, because we
Okay.
are going to go look at Mark too, because Mark is different. But as far as what we're covering in Luke, the first one is Luke 4:31 through 37, and this reads, "And he went down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and he was teaching them on the Sabbath. And they were astonished at his teaching, for his word possessed authority. And in the synagogue there was a man who had the spirit of an unclean demon, and he cried out with a loud voice, Ha! What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. But Jesus rebuked him, saying, Be silent, and come out of him. And when the demon had thrown him down in their midst, he came out of him, having done him no harm. And they were all amazed, and said to one another, What is this word? For with authority and power he commands the unclean spirits, and they come out. And reports about him went out into every place in the surrounding region."
Mm.
So, again, like I said, this right here, what I just read,
Mm-hmm.
this comes immediately after the rejection in Nazareth. So Jesus is rejected. They take him out to throw him down the cliff or whatever. Jesus walks away from him. And if we remember, that was on the Sabbath.
Mm.
He was preaching on the Sabbath there, and he made the proclamation that basically that he was
He was,
Messiah.
yes, yes.
And so they're like, this is blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to kill you. But Jesus walks away. And now this is another Sabbath. We don't have an exact idea of how long this has been, but in my mind, it's just a week.
A week.
Like,
Yeah.
he gets kicked out of Nazareth this week, he goes to Capernaum, and the next week he's preaching in Capernaum.
Mm.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Just it's just with the rapid succession of what's happening throughout these next few things, because
Mm-hmm.
it's all one day. All the stuff that we're going to be covering happens in one day. So it just feels like, even going back a little bit, this is all happening quick. So that's why I feel it's only been a week, but I really don't know. Um, and something else that I think is interesting, obviously, if you weren't here, you may not know this, but last week, yes, that was a underhanded
Really?
dig.
My gosh.
Well, that's what you get for going to Seattle without me.
No.
You should have took me with you. We could have done
Oh.
a remote.
Oh, we could have.
We could have went to Space Needle and sat
Every
up there and
Yeah.
did like 5 minutes and they kicked us out.
Right. And we also could have gone to the fish market and
Yeah,
watch in the background we could have slinging
we
fish.
got fish flying over our heads.
Well, we
That
got
would have been
distracted.
awesome.
We better get back to where we were.
I don't even know where I was.
I don't know.
Oh, so as I mentioned last week, actually, it might have been last 2 episodes I talked about it, was the Via Maris, that Roman road that went from Damascus all the way down over to the Mediterranean
Yeah,
Sea and
I think
followed
I
the
was here for that day.
Mediterranean
Yeah.
Sea down and around. Well, as it said here in verse 37, and reports about him went out into every place in the surrounding region. Where was he at? He was in Capernaum.
Capernaum.
I mentioned last week how he chose Capernaum because he could stay in that central location. And since that was a main hub, a main terminal, don't know what the right word would be, but he had all these different main intersections running through Capernaum that he could
Mm-hmm.
stay there and he could preach and do what he does in Capernaum and all these Gentiles, even though he wasn't preaching to the Gentiles, he was preaching to the Jews. The Gentiles would hear
Mm-hmm.
and they could take that message and spread it out without Jesus really having to go anywhere or doing much more than what he's doing right there in Capernaum.
Mm-hmm.
And this is evidence of that. He healed this man of this unclean demon
Mm-hmm.
uh, in the synagogue on Sabbath, and next thing you know, everybody
Everybody
knows
knows
about it.
about it. Yep.
And so that's kind of what I was hinting at last week whenever I was talking about that, and here's evidence of it. So I just thought that was interesting, so I wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm.
But our next scripture, which is again, this is all happening one right after the other. So this is Luke 4:38 through 39. And he arose and left the synagogue and entered Simon's house. Now Simon's mother-in-law was ill with a high fever, and they appealed to him on her behalf. And he stood over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her, and immediately she rose and began to serve them. So again, he was in the synagogue, he healed that man of the unclean demon,
Mm-hmm.
and then he arose and went to Simon's house. I do think it's kind of weird that he is going to Simon's house, but that's only like on the surface because now that we have done the study, we know, even though in Luke's version, he hasn't called Simon to be a disciple yet, we still know that he has known Simon and changed Simon's
You're
name
right. Right.
like 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
as much as 2 years ago. So it is very possible that, they are connected. They still spend time together. So when Jesus goes to Capernaum, maybe Simon's house is one of the houses that he would stay at.
It makes sense.
So it is possible that why he would be going to Simon's house after he did this, after he got done preaching at the synagogue. Um, but I also think it's interesting, and just so you know, there's a lot of stuff here that, if you were a preacher, this is full of these spiritual little things that you could teach on. I'm going to like avoid most of those
Mm.
because if you just look this up anywhere, you'll get sermon after sermon
Mm.
after sermon that you can listen to and get all those cool little spiritual things. But I'm just kind of going with the facts, I guess. I don't know how you want to call it. But I do want to point out that um, as we've seen here in 38:39, that Jesus stood over her and rebuked the fever,
Mm-hmm.
and it left her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did he do to the unclean demon? Um, well, it's in here somewhere.
I have to look at my paper.
But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out." So he rebuked the fever and it came out. He rebuked the demon and it came out.
Mm-hmm.
He's rebuking both of these in the same way. So I just think that's interesting.
It is. My timer went off.
Okay. So whenever we come back,
And then we talked about rebuking also in episodes, and for us, we rebuke in Jesus'
yes,
name.
yep, rebuke the devil
Mm-hmm.
in the name of Jesus. So when we come back next week, we're going to cover Luke 4:40 through 41, Luke 4:42 through 44, and then we'll finally get into this, the same calling of the first disciples in Luke's version,
Mm-hmm.
which is Luke 5:1 through 11, and then we'll.
Yeah,
So
and I shouldn't have as much to say next week, so we'll actually be able to maybe do the Bible study.
I'll believe that when I see it.
I'll try. I don't know.
Um,
We'll see what happens.
so we will continue on this little rabbit hole, I guess,
Yeah.
of following the genealogy, or not the genealogy, the chronology of Jesus. And what?
Keep on going as long as it takes. Are you done
You're
yet?
you're trying to find the outro. I get it.
My outro paper. I didn't have an order. Yeah, we'll come back and do what?
We'll keep talking about the chronology of Jesus.
That sounds fantastic. We thank you for joining us. Please leave a comment on this video or go to the contact page on purefaithliving.com to send us a message. And as always, if you like what you hear, then we ask that you share this show with others so we can all work together in spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will talk to you again next time.
Have a blessed day, everybody. How long will I say it like this?
Until you turn off the camera.
Oh, yeah. But if I move, then they're going to know.
Okay, go.
Okay.